Never a dull moment, and let's bring in our guests, Katie Frost, Republican strategist and certified criminal law specialist at Cates and Reed, Dwane Cates. Panel, great to see you both.
Thank you.
Here.
Okay, let's dig into what's happening on the Hill, because you've got this tense lunch meeting. The president reportedly focused a lot of his frustration on Louisiana Senator Bill Cassidy outgoing over his vote to limit the war powers. I just want to play a little bit of the president who sauntered out after supposedly having this shouting match behind closed doors.
I think we had a really great meeting, and we're very proud of the party. We like our leader. We like everybody really in the room. I don't like a few people, but that's okay. I think you know who they are. But I'll give you that information someday. But for the most part, we have a really well-unified party.
Katie, I'm going to let you start. I know you're not a body language expert, but they're all looking like, what's he going to say? President Trump, he's pretty frank. How do you think he wrapped that up to let everyone know he's going to get what he wants?
I love it because, frankly, it reminds me of my mother leaving a big family gathering. Like, that went well. There were a couple people there I didn't like, but that's okay. I mean, this seems like the big family dinner. We have Thanksgiving. You get all the cousins together, and you get along with most of them, but there's always one or two. There's going to be a little bit of confrontation, but at the end of the day, we're family. We're going to work together. We're going to figure it out, and that's something that I appreciate about President Trump. Everyone knows where they stand with the president, whether they want to know or not. I'm from the South, where people will smile, and then, they knife you in the back. They don't do that if you're from New York. They just will knife you right in the front.
Yeah. Dwane, you know what it's like as a criminal law specialist. I mean, but Save America Act, popular, and Americans want it, but it doesn't seem like there's enough votes, and no matter what Thune does, unless they kill the filibuster, which President Trump has been saying over and over, they don't seem to want to do that, even though we know the left will do it if they take control.
That always gets me that the Republican Party, because Republicans by their very nature are independent people and independent thinkers, and they don't enter into groupthink like the Democrats do. The Democrats, they get a talking point and they all walk lockstep down the road. Republicans don't do that. Now, it's not always fun watching the sausage being made, but there are a lot of people that like sausage. So, I think at the end of the day, they got to get some of this stuff done. And I think they will. I don't think the president's going to veto the housing bill. I think he'll just not sign it, and it'll automatically go into law in 10 days.
All right, let's talk about what's going on now in New York, that socialist sweep. Mamdani, 3 of his endorsed candidates, who are all self-proclaimed Democrat socialists, winning their primary races, and in response, 15 House Democrats panel have signed up the Promise to America, a pledge meant to unite centrists and promote capitalism over socialism, including what they say is a growing, fair, and competitive economy that rewards hard work, innovation, entrepreneurship, and ownership. Katie, a lot of folks are looking at this saying they may have won, but long-term, the Republicans now can use this and actually get some real momentum before the midterms in November.
Look at also who signed that. I went and read it. It's a very common, it sounds good. It sounds common sense. But the problem is the people who signed that, they're always voting in lockstep with their party. This is something they'll be able to tout out in their swing districts in the midterms, because when you look at it, it's people like North Carolina 1st, New York 3rd, New York 4th. These are the very tight districts. Most of these people represent districts that President Trump narrowly won. So they're trying to appeal to the center, but their party is just dramatically veering to the left. And when you have Democratic Socialists being elected and the platform of the Democratic Socialist Party, which is the abolition of the Senate, the abolition of all incarceration, we're not talking just defund the police. Now we're talking about there will be no more prisons. You have a candidate who co-founded a group in her college that said they wanted to undermine and destroy Western civilization. How can you say you're going to govern the United States of America when you fundamentally hate the things that make us the country that we are? Democrats have a lot to answer for in the midterms.
We'll see, though, because even the moderates are getting a little bit nervous. I want to get to some of the Supreme Court news today for you, Dwane. This is right up your alley. We didn't get birthright citizenship. That'll probably be next Tuesday. But there was 2 wins for the Trump administration and some other cases. Let's start with the immigration rulings from the High Court. So they're clearing the way for President Trump to get rid of temporary protected status. It's going to be about 1 million Haitian, Syrian migrants. This is obviously a major win, and there was another part of it where they said they can turn away asylum seekers at the southern border, which was actually something that was the way under Obama, that limited access. Talk to us about how big of a win these are and the types of protocols now that the administration can use to get rid of people who have just been here on this TPS for decades.
It's a big win for the president, and it's a big win for the country, because again, we have to be able to control the people that are coming into our country. If somebody wants to come into my house, they have to ask my permission or be invited in. And if I say no, they can't come in. That's the same with the border. When they come to the border and they say, let me in on an asylum claim, we now absolutely and backed up have the right to say, no, you can't come in right now. You can make your claim, but we can turn you away at the border. And that just makes sense. It really does. I mean, you cannot have wide open borders, or we're going to end up like Great Britain.
Katie, I'll let you dovetail off of some of those comments. I mean, it also is some of the people who came in from Haiti have just been here for years. I mean, this was, if it's temporary, it's temporary.
Exactly, but define temporary. Apparently, in the Democrats, temporary is 30 years. I mean, you'll have people here on temporary status longer than I've been alive. But that's how the Democrats think it's supposed to function. But even in the dissent, Justice Kagan said that this program was meant to be temporary, and they were objecting to the way it was being ended. And that's what was the basic grounds of this case. But it needs to happen. We need to be able to not only have control over who comes in, where they go, how long they stay. And the analogy Dwane was using is very accurate. You can't just show up at my house, open the door, walk in, plop down on the couch, and start watching Netflix and say, sorry, I'm not leaving. I have a right to be here. That's not the way our country works.
We can't do that if we're going into Mexico or Canada, anywhere, like on our borders. All right. One other ruling I just want to get your reaction to, Dwane, because a lot of folks are saying maybe this will be something during the lawsuits will continue at the state, not the final say. But this Roundup, they actually said that you cannot sue the maker of Roundup. There's claims that people had cancer because of, weed killer. This will now, of course, determine the future of lawsuits against Bayer. We know that when the arguments were being heard, hundreds showed up. We know with Maha, RFK Jr. I mean, there are a lot of people who want to make sure that pesticides and that there's not protection if people are getting sick. Now, pretty layered. I know this was a very specific case regarding a label, but talk to us about the wider implications, because if you just read the headlines, you're like, why is the Supreme Court protecting and giving immunity in a way to people who claim that they're getting cancer to a major corporation?
And again, I don't know that you can extrapolate it out to all corporations. I think it is a specific case about a specific label, and that the label was adequate, and that people had fair warning that there was an issue with this product, and therefore the company's not liable. Now, again, that doesn't mean you can't sue Roundup in the future for some other reason, or you can't find some other reason, to show that it's causing cancer. They know it's causing cancer, something like that. But on this specific case, they did rule against the plaintiffs.
Yeah, this overturns a jury award, though, for Missouri man. Katie, I'll give you the final word on that. Obviously, though, there's a lot of passion on this subject.
It definitely is, and we need to make sure that we protect our companies that are innovating and creating new products and devices that help us in our agricultural, but we also have to protect the health of the American people. I would say I've not studied this result as much, but here's what we know. We have to protect innovation, we have to protect Americans, and usually it's going to be somewhere in the middle. There's no one clear one way or the other.
Yeah, and like I said, it probably will not be the end of this when we hear more of these claims. But again, it did come down to just this particular label. Dwane Cates, Katie Frost, thanks so much. Good to see you guys.
Thank you, Bianca.